First and foremost, I'd like to say, Call Halal Yahawadah Bashim Yahushai, Bashim Rakakadash. First and foremost, giving all glory and honor to the Almighty Yahweh. Secondly, to His only begotten Son, Yahushai. And thirdly, to the Rakakadash, which is the Holy Spirit that gives us all knowledge, wisdom, and truth. I also would like to give double honors to the elders of Great Millstone, the apostles and the servants of Yahawadah Bashim Yahushai, pushing this 144% truth with all truth and sincerity. As well as I would like to give salutations to the confusion of faith scattered across the four corners of the earth that come from the seed line of Israel, as well as the Akim and Akwaf, the men and women that have came to this wise council, those that are seeking their salvation and mercy at the hands of Yahweh through His Son Yahushua, as well as those, that are seeking their salvation with fear and trembling. I want to say Shalom. Coming back at you with another lesson tonight, and I was woken up out the middle of my sleep, to run across this article, to run across this video, and this video stirred me up so much to do a lesson, and we must always stay on our job and stay on our watch, and do the work. Right now is a high time to prophesy and a high time to put out the work, of Yahawadah Bashim Yahushai. And as you see right here, we have an illustration of the beast in the garden, the beast and Eve in the garden, and the woman was the reason why we fell, from grace. The woman was the one that deceived Adam into biting the apple, and falling from grace, but also we have our women that are agents of the so-called white man, the devil, man, they're working hand in hand to overthrow us. They're working hand in hand to overthrow us. Just like these wicked women, out here gadding abroad with too much liberty, and they are uncontrollable wild beasts, just like Esau. So without further ado, the topic of this lesson is, and also they are traitors, to their own people, man. They are traitors to Esau, to their own people, man. And the topic of this lesson is, Eve is Esau's ace of spades. This Esau ace of spades. Whenever Esau want to put something on our community, puts a V, if you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about with what we got going on now right now, these vaccinations. So when I say V, that's what I'm talking about. When they want to push these V's on us, it's a must that you know that Esau always employs Eve to do his dirty work. And I'm going to show you in this video. And this stirred me up so much. And the topic of this lesson is, Eve is Esau's ace of spades. We have a nurse that works over there in England, that she has been given a high position. And this nurse was an agent of of infecting the population with the C virus, man. With the C virus. So we're gonna get into this video, and I'm gonna show you how Eve tried to do that over here in America too, using Eve, man. You gotta watch these wicked females, man. These wicked females want to usurp authority over a man. They uncontrollable wild beasts. They won't shut up. And see, in the kingdom, women are not going to be able to gad abroad and do as they do here in Babylon. They're not going to be given that type of liberty, to become uncontrollable. The woman won't even be able to assert no authority or address her opinion. This is going to be a kingdom of kings and priests that's going to be ruling and controlling the kingdom. So without further ado, we're going to get into this video, for you to see, see that Eve is Esau's ace of spades. So right here in this video, in this picture right here, we have Prince Henry, who is the son of the Queen of England. And right here, we got Eve, with the serpent, and they have given her a high position, as the head nurse over the Royal College of England, and as you can see, This lady that I'm talking about right here, her name is Donna Kennard, all right, which I did a little research on her. All right, and here's another insert of who this woman Donna Kennard is. All right, this is a professor. Dame Donna Kennard is a British nurse and has been chief executive and general secretary of the Royal College of the Nursing since 2018. She is specialized in child protection, protecting leadership in major hospitals trusts in London, teaching and advising and government committees. So she's in with them. They know that they got to have Eve in order to push any of their agendas. So we're going to play this video.
Is the General Secretary and Chief Executive of the Royal College. Donna Kennard is the General Secretary and Chief Executive of the Royal College of Nursing, and she joins me now live. Thank you so much for joining us on BBC News. I wonder, Donna Kennard, how do you feel about the government's plans to test all essential workers? Do you think that health workers should be given priority, or do you think that this is right?
So I think we need a stage where health workers are given priority, because actually it's health workers that have been providing the care. So if I just take my example today, I've been at the Nightingale Hospital, and actually in order for us to go there, we do have to be tested if we're showing symptoms to be able to not take time off and to be able to deliver the right care for our patients. But just reference to your earlier conversation about lifting the lockdown, we know that we haven't infected enough of the population with this virus. So for just reference to your earlier conversation about lifting the lockdown, we know that we haven't...
Let's go back and let you hear that. Now listen good when I listen good.
Reference to your earlier conversation about lifting the lockdown, we know that we haven't infected enough of the population with this virus. So for just reference to your earlier conversation about lifting the lockdown, we know that we haven't infected enough of the population with this virus. So for reference to your earlier conversation about lifting the lockdown, we know that we haven't infected enough of the population with this virus. So for any lifting of any lockdown to be successful, we need not only to be able to test healthcare workers, but also to track and trace patients or people, not just patients in hospital, but people outside of hospital, or people that are coming into hospital for various other reasons.
And y'all know that wherever we find the serpent, who is the Esau, wherever we find him at, you're going to find Eve bowed down to him, right? And just look how our women treat us compared to when an Edomite male walks in. She treats the Edomite male, all right, like gold, all right? She treats the Edomite, she'll sell out to the so-called Esau because he got money. But when it comes to her own people and us, she'll sell out on us quick. She treats her own man like it ain't shit, but she'll submit to the serpent. All right? All right, so we got another agent right here, and her name is Kismika Corbett. All right? Kismika Kizzy Shante Corbett is an American viral immunologist at the Vaccine Research Center at the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, National Institute of Health, based in Bethesda, Maryland. All right, and she's only 34 years old. All right, so E has employed another agent. All right, that's working to try to push this vaccine on our people. All right, and they wrote articles about her like she's just the savior to the black community. But then you had another woman who did that as well too, during the Tuskegee incident, the Tuskegee experiment. All right, E used another Eve to go in and infect our people with tuberculosis. With syphilis, man. All right, and this Eve, this devil, all right, is joined with the serpent, all right, to try to push this vaccine, on our people. All right, and wherever you find, this is what Esau does. He gives Eve a high position of authority, and Eve is loyal to the serpent. All right, just like in the garden. Right, our women have been at war with us since the garden. All right, and what? Wherever you find Esau, you're gonna find Eve that's gonna submit to her. Don't you see that? Look at the demeanor on this demon witch face, this traitor, man. Wherever you find Eve, right, you're going to find a serpent who is using her as an ace of spades. Do I have to repeat it again? Wherever you find the serpent, you're going to find Eve bowing down to the serpent.
Oh, hey guys. How you guys doing? All right, I'm going to try and make this quick. I'm not going to try and stay on here for too long, right? And I'm also going to try and contain myself. Okay, so I need to talk to you guys about something today. So, my grandmother always say to us, right? If you don't know your history, you won't know where the hell you're going, right? Yes. So one thing that I know is that the white man has been very successful in recruiting the help of the black woman to do his dirty work. That's one thing that we know. Some of us do know that, right? The black woman is always willing and able to assist her white daddy as long as it has something to do with the destruction of her community, right? History has proven that. I mean, I don't have to remind you guys of that, right? A lot of you guys know. The black woman has always been an instrument for the white man, a tool for the white man to use against the black community, to destroy the black community. Now, why is that? Her and Christian pastors, right? These black Christian pastors. Why is that? Why is the black woman always being used by the white man to manipulate and destroy her community? Well, if it's one thing that I know about the black woman, the nature of a lot of black women is that a lot of black women crave the attention from the white man. Crave the attention. They like power. They like the power that is given to them by the white man, right? You go into certain workplaces, and all the white men need to do is to give the black woman a little bit of power, a little position in the workplace. And that black woman will have her foot on the neck of the black man in the workplace. Always. I've seen it. She doesn't get along with other black women, right? And she will have her foot on the necks of the black men. Yeah. She's always been an instrument used by her white daddy against the black community, especially the black men. Now, where am I going with this conversation? Where am I going with this, right? Now, let me ask you guys a question. Let me share my screen with you guys. I'm going to share my screen. Does anybody know who this is? This sweet little old lady. Anybody remember her? Well, for those of you who don't, I'm going to jog your memory. Okay? This sweet little old lady here, her name happens to be Eunice Rivers. Any of you guys remember her? Okay, well, I know a lot of you guys might know who she is, but for those of you who have been living under a rock, I'm about to jog your memory, okay? Her name is Eunice Rivers, right? And let me just read a little bit of what they say on me here. This is a little bit of her autobiography here. It says she's a pioneer in providing essential health care to the rural poor in Alabama, right? So she was essential in providing health care to the poor people of Alabama, all right? Okay. Let's go back to my screen for a second. That sweet little old lady that you just saw there, her name, again, is Eunice Rivers. Sister Eunice Rivers was very instrumental in recruiting hundreds of black men between the year of 1932 and 1972 for the Tuskegee experiment. You guys remember that? You guys remember that, right? Those of you who know about the Tuskegee experiment, Tuskegee, potato, right? A lot of you guys remember the Tuskegee experiment, right? For those of you who don't, probably been living under a rock, right? Sister Eunice was the woman, the black woman that was used. She was a nurse, okay? She was given a nursing degree, and she was recruited and used and sent back to her black community. And for 40 years, Sister Eunice, that sweet little old lady that you just saw there, for 40 years, Sister Eunice was used to destroy the black community, specifically the black men. She went into her own community and she recruited hundreds of black men. And she infected them with the syphilis virus, with the promise of health care and whatever else she promised them, because the white man says, hey, just go into the community, tell them that they're going to get this and they're going to get that. And that's how she was able to convince them. Now, we're talking about poor black men with no education, right? Now, I'm not going to stay on this topic for too long, okay? So for those of you who remember syphilis into the bodies of black men, right? Okay, now I'm not going to stay on that for too long. Not going to stay there for too long. Okay, so now where am I going with this? Okay, let me share my screen again. So now we're in 2020, right? We're in the year 2020. And so, who do we have here? You guys know who this is. Well, for those of you who've been living under a rock for the last couple of weeks, right? This black woman here is a reincarnation of Eunice Rivers. Her name is Kismakia Corbett, okay? That's her name. Let's go back up here to the top. Let's read what it says here. World, meet Kismakia Corbett, leader of clinical trial in search of corona vaccine. Okay? So this black woman here is the face of the coronavirus vaccination, right? And I see all over social media, black people are sharing articles about this woman. They're praising her. Oh my God, this is the black woman who's creating the vaccine for the coronavirus. She's going to save us all. She's going to save the world, right? That's what I'm hearing. That's what I'm seeing on social media. I've seen people posting videos after videos of this woman. She's the black woman with the big degrees, right? All the fancy degrees from her white daddy's university, right? And she's the one that is going to save the world because now she is the face of the coronavirus vaccination, right? Does any of this sound familiar to you guys? Does any of this sound familiar to you guys? Because over 70 years ago, this was her 70 years ago, right? There's no difference. Over 70 years ago, they had a black woman parading around, recruiting black men, right? For an experiment. And here we are in 2020. And the same thing is happening all over again. We have a black woman who's been paraded in front of us, right, as the hero, trying to get black folks, trying to line us up, because somehow we're supposed to relate to Sister Kismikia from the hood, right? We're supposed to relate to her. Now let's see who Sister Kismikia is. Let's read a little bit.
As well, Doctor. Ms. Corbett, first of all, can you just explain what you're developing and where things stand right now with it?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're developing a vaccine for COVID-19. It is based on several of our previous projects where we were investigating vaccines for MERS and SARS coronaviruses, which are very closely related to the virus that causes COVID-19. So this vaccine incorporates the spike protein, which is the protein that is on the surface of the virus. And that protein is the reason, essentially, why the virus is able to attach to a cell and then get into a cell and cause an infection. So from our perspective, if we can incorporate that protein into our vaccine and essentially allow the body to create a response to that protein that may block an infection later, we've created a successful vaccine. The really interesting part about this is that we have a collaboration with Moderna, which is a company that uses messenger RNA, which is essentially just genetic material, and we're using their platform to deliver our vaccine spike.
So, do I further have to prove my case, all right, that Eve is Esau's ace of spades, man? You can't trust these women, man. All right, these women have to be thoroughly, all right, not given liberty and thoroughly checked out before you trust them, man. All right, because these women are the reason of our downfall. Even these pretty women, all right, a pretty woman could come upon you and take you out this truth. Have you doing all kind of wickedness and madness and pull you out this truth, man. So beware of these wicked women, man. All right? If you get you a woman, make sure she in this truth, hopefully. All right? But other than that, man, the women in this kingdom ain't shit, man. All right? There's very few women that's righteous, all right? There's very few righteous women out here, man, and I'm gonna just leave it at that. All right. So without further ado, we're gonna grab some scriptures and close this lesson out. All right. So we're gonna start at Psalms chapter 64 and verse 1. All right, and I'm gonna just highlight this. All right. All right. And I gotta grab something else. All right, one moment. And Esau using the mechanism of controlled opposition. Excuse me. A controlled opposition is a protest movement that is actually being led by government agents. Nearly all governments in history have employed this technique to trick and subdue their adversaries. Us and Esau are arch enemies. All right, how did Eve trick us to losing our immortality? All right, by the serpent getting a hold of Eve. Let me repeat this again. A controlled opposition is a protest movement that is actually being led by government agents. Nearly all governments in history have employed this technique to trick and subdue their adversaries. Notably, Vladimir Lenin, who said, the best way to control the opposition is to lead it ourselves. Count Mirabeau was a part of a controlled opposition because although everyone thought he was supporting the revolution, which this is a revolution to stand on the law, statutes, and commandments of the Bible and live by the Lord, where Satan is trying to take down this world and make it an evil kingdom under their new order. In reality, he supported the monarchy, as you've seen in the first clip with that Donna Kanar with the Prince of England, right? This girl named Kismikia with Donald Trump and these other serpents. And was a personal friend of the king. He was a government agent. All right. All right. So we're going to start here in Psalm 64 and 1. It says, hear my voice, O Yahweh, in my prayer. Preserve my life for the fear of the enemy. Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked. Right? This is the secret counsel of the wicked. from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity, who whet their tongue like a sword and bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter words. Right? What those bitter words they trying to say? That now they switched it from the China, the Wuhan virus, then now they're trying to say that, try to turn it around on our population to say that it is us. Right? Verse 4, that they may shoot in secret at the perfect. Right? Suddenly do they shoot at him and fear not. They encourage themselves in an evil matter, right? Their secret counsels. They commune to lay snares privily. And this laying a snare for us by using Eve to do their dirty work. They say, who shall see them? Verse 6, they search out our iniquities. They accomplish a diligent search. Both the inward thought of every one of them is deep. The heart is deep. But Yahweh shall shoot at them with an arrow, and suddenly shall they be wounded. These thermonuclear missiles. All right, and what did that traitor Eve do in the beginning clip? Their own tongue. She exposed the whole thing of the government, so that they should make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee away. All right. Also, we're gonna go to 1 John chapter 2 and verse 26. 1 John 2 and 26. These things have I written to you concerning them that seduce you. This is a form of seduction by the serpent, trying to finesse you with our own women, which Eve is the ace of spades of these devils, man. All right. Also, let's go to Genesis chapter 3 and verse 1. All right. It says, Now the serpent, who is the so-called white man, was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Lord had made. And he said unto the woman, Yea, Yahweh said, Ye shall not eat of every fruit of the garden. And the woman said unto the serpent, We may eat of the fruit of the tree of Slakim. And the woman said unto the serpent, We may eat of the fruit of the tree of the garden. But the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, Yahweh have said, Ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. And the serpent said to the woman, Ye shall not surely die. For Yahweh doeth know that in the day that ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and it was pleasant to her eyes, proving that women are carnal-minded beasts, all right, and easily swayed by money and the things of their eyes, all right? What, you gonna go against the Bible and what it says? Because I see these damn ratchet, wicked Eves, all right, thirsting like vampires, all right, for the next meal. All right, they suck on one brother and suck the life out of him, and then when another brother come with a little bit more money, she ready to jump ship at any moment with those Gadna broad eyes. All right, and when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise, she took thereof and did eat, and gave it unto her husband. Finessed her husband, gave it to her husband, and he did eat, so he didn't know. It says, and the eyes of both of them were open, and they knew, and they were naked. All right, this because Eve took on the ways of the serpent. She slept with the so-called white man. She committed fornication with the white man, and he finessed her. And they sewed fig leaves together and made themselves aprons. And they heard the voice of Yahweh Almighty in the garden, walking in the garden in the cool of the day, and Adam and his wife hid themselves from the presence of Yahweh amongst the garden. And let me highlight this real quick. And Yahweh called unto Adam and said, Where art thou? And he said, I have heard the voice. I have heard thy voice in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked and hid myself. And all right, let's continue. Verse 11. And he said, Who told thee that thou walkest naked? Hast thou eaten of the tree whereof I had commanded thee that thou should not eat? And a man said, right? And a man said, The woman whom thou gavest me, she gave me of the tree, and I did eat. All right. All right, verse 13. And the Lord said unto the woman, what is this that thou hast done? And the woman said, the serpent beguiled me and did eat. So these women, the serpent beguiled them to destroy their own community, right? She admitted to the Heavenly Father that the serpent beguiled her. All right, let's go now to Sirach chapter 25 and 24. Sirach 25 and 24. All right, and it reads, of the woman came the beginning of sin, and through her we all die. All right, because when you give your power over to a woman, all right, she gonna destroy you, man. Let's look at 19. All wickedness is but a little to the wickedness of a woman. Let the portion of a sinner fall upon her. All right, let's go to verse 17. All right. It says, the wickedness of a woman changeth her face, and darketh her countenance like sackcloth. All right. All right. Let's go to verse 13. All right. And it reads, give me any plague but the plague of the heart, and any wickedness but the wickedness of a woman. So these women are enemies to their own people. All right. Let's go now to 2 Timothy chapter 1, and we're going to start at verse 1 Timothy chapter 2 and verse 11. All right. This is 1 Timothy chapter 2 and verse 11. Let the woman learn with all subjection. But I suffer not a woman to teach, nor to usurp authority over a man. So what did Esau do? He gave Eve authority. And when he gave Eve authority, all right, Eve was loyal to the serpent and came in and destroyed her own people. This is what happens when you put a woman in charge. This is why a woman is not supposed to be teaching the Bible. She's supposed to be learning in silence. All right? It says, but I suffer not a woman to teach nor usurp authority over a man, but in silence. For Adam was first and then Eve. And Adam was not deceived, but the woman being deceived was in transgression. So through the women we all die. Notwithstanding, she shall be saved in childbearing if she continue in the faith and in charity and holiness and sobriety. If she in this truth. All right, if she obeying the Lord, not the so-called white man, the devil. All right, and we're going to go grab another scripture, 2 Corinthians chapter 2 and verse 11. All right. It says, lest Satan should get the advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. And Eve is one of Esau's devices. So we are not ignorant, all right, to Satan's devices. And Eve is one of those devices, all right, that's used to destroy us. All right. All right. So, as you can see, look at Eve with the serpent again, right? Look at Eve with the serpent. Eve with the serpent again, as you see Eve. And look at Eve giving in to the serpent. Look how she gripping on his arm. Look how he got his hand in her mouth and she's submitting to the serpent. Beware of Eve. All right. So I hope that this lesson was edifying. I want to say, call Yahawadah Bashim Yahawadah Bashim Rakakadash. Shalom.